Hello, everyone, people from all around the world. I'm very excited to be back here in this live class. We see each other every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Colombia time, 5 Mexico, 8 Argentina, and plus midnight if you are joining us all the way from Spain. I'm very excited to be here. And with this special class that is taking place in a very special day and a very special week. And you may be thinking, oh, John, you always say it's a special class, a special day, a special week. And I know, I always say that, but today is slightly more special than usual. And the reason why is because the guests that are coming with us this time are coming from all the way from our community, from you, from our students. So we have two students who will be sharing with us their experience learning English, their challenges, and especially all their tips to improve their English, their pronunciation. One of them is presenting a job interview tomorrow, so this will be a fantastic opportunity also to practice his English. And honestly, I cannot wait to hear their stories and to hear from you in the chat what you think about their process too. And I want to encourage everyone to take advantage of this live class and leave their questions. Take advantage that you will see some students practicing their English in real life and ask them what you want to know about their process. This is community is built together. So the more questions you ask, the better, and especially because you will be learning from people that are also studying. So that is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So everybody go ahead and take advantage and ask as many questions as you want to our wonderful guests. And another reason why this live class is so special is because today, Tuesday, January the 17th, 2023, we are starting to do something at Platzi that it's called a hackathon. If you are in the tech industry, you may have heard about hackathons in the past. And well, let me tell you, this is a time in which the entire company is working towards projects for our community. Right now at Platzi, all the people from multiple nationalities, from multiple time zones, where all of us are working together towards projects for you. So within the next couple of days, we are going to be developing fantastic projects that you can see soon in action. And yes, we will be using artificial intelligence to develop these programs, these projects to be ready to help you till the best of our extent. So we are very excited with this. All these days, you're going to see a lot of information on social media about the projects that we are developing. And soon, very soon, you will be able to see what we've developed. So these days, this week, and this live class are, of course, more special than usual because of these news. And also, you may be thinking, John, but if you guys are doing this hackathon thing, what is happening with my practice activities? Don't you worry. We will have plenty of activities for you to continue practicing our voice chats. The regular activities you have every week to practice your English will remain. So don't forget to go to platzi.com/English activities. I am going to leave the link in the chat in just a moment. You will continue practicing your English in those activities this week. We will be in parallel working to change the world. Now you know, but your classes won't be affected at all this week and the next weeks, and every time you will have access to them. So I'll leave the link in just a second. And of course, as usual, we'll know about our students. We'll play some games and we're going to have some fun. So without any further ado, and after seeing that, actually, we have some students from Spain, which is fascinating because it's past midnight. So kudos for those connecting all the way from Spain. It's time to welcome our special guests, okay? And I want to invite them to be live with us, but also I want them to say their name and a fun fact about themselves. This is off script. We hadn't spoken about this, and they might be thinking, oh, John, what are you doing? That was not part of the deal. Well, that's how live classes are. So all the way, we have Roger and Daniel. Roger, Daniel, welcome. I'm very excited to have you here. It's an honor for me to have you here and to know your story. So go ahead and tell us, well, you know the name already, but tell us where you're from and a fun fact about you.
Well, thank you very much because I am a big fan of Platzi. So, well, as you said, my name is Daniel, but actually that's my third name. Okay, I have three names. The first one is Rigel. and Rigel is the name of a star. So I think that's a fun fact. And about where I'm from, I am from Venezuela, but right now I live in Peru.
Wow. So you're representing right now 2 countries and 3 names.
Yeah.
That's what I hear, Daniel. That's awesome. Thanks for being here, Daniel. What about you, Roger? Tell us a fun fact about yourself and also where you are connecting from today.
Well, my name, as can you see, is Roger in English, or yeah, the same thing. It's an Anglo name. So maybe I'm from Venezuela, from Maracaibo. Is in the east of Venezuela, near to the Colombian border. And yeah, fun fact, now that Daniel was talking about his name, I remind that my father put me the name because in the 80s, there was a famous baseball player called Roger Clemens, and my father is a fan of baseball. So I think that in that way, my name is that's the reason of my name. So yeah, now that I remind that quote to say it, so yeah.
Nice, nice. So we have one more representative from Venezuela, and that fun fact about your name, I hadn't thought about it, but actually I think my name comes from my dad wanting soccer and somebody being famous, around the time I was born. My name is a lot more common in English than it is in Spanish. So that's not kind of like a fun fact. But thanks, Roger. Thanks, Daniel, for being here. Like I said at the beginning, understanding your experience and sharing all that knowledge is going to be fantastic for all our community. And again, I want to invite everyone at home, whatever they are right now, go ahead in the chat and ask some questions to Roger and to Daniel, things that you want to know about their experience, about their learnings, about their challenges as well. And actually, speaking about challenges, that's the first question that I want to bring to the table. And it has to do with, we know that learning English isn't that easy all the time. So what has been the biggest challenge, Roger and Daniel, that you have faced when learning English? So tell me a little bit about that, the most representative challenge that you can remember at the moment of learning English. And let's start eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Roger, let's go with you first. What's that biggest challenge when learning English?
Yes, for me, it has been the stage fright because I was not used to speak in public like I'm doing in this moment. So for me, that challenge made me improve my speaking skills, because that is true. If you don't practice your English talking to people from all around the world, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to improve that skill. And that at the same time, if you improve your speaking skill, you are improving listening and reading, because you're going to see that you know more vocabulary than you think. So for me, that challenge of speaking in public or overcoming my stage fright has been the best thing to improve my English level.
Wow, Roger, you mentioned something very important, and is facing that fear, right? One of those challenges for you was speaking in public, and here today you are speaking in front of thousands of students from all over the world. So that is a clear example of, come on and let's face that fear. Fascinating, Roger. And I'm very glad to know that Platzi and we have been part of that experience. Thanks for sharing. That's a challenge that I'm sure several people share. What about in your case, Daniel? What's that biggest challenge that you've faced when learning English?
Well, I think my biggest challenge was the pronunciation, because, of course, many of the students can relate with me. English have a lot of final pronunciations that we're not used to in Spanish. And I think this is something very cool that the community can take advantage of. I understood that beatboxing can help you with that pronunciation problem, because beatboxing is about making sounds with your mouth, like, for example, and the English, some of the last sounds of the English are just like that. For example, a word. We normally say war because we are not used to pronounce that last K. But if you know a little bit of beatboxing, you can, you will feel get used to say word. For example, many words, for example, the past participle or just the past way of the verb is with a T sound. So if you are used to the T, you can say open, you can say closed, you can say many words that at the beginning can be a little bit difficult to express, but with practice you can get better and better, and then you can combine it. Like, for example, work. Of course, from the beginning you're going to exaggerate it. It's normal, but when you get used to that, it's going to be very natural, and you won't say work, but you will say worked. And I think that's something very valuable that the community can take.
Wow, Daniel. In my years as a teacher, this is the first time that I hear that piece of advice, and I cannot agree with you anymore. That is fascinating, and it makes absolute total sense, because with big box, you play with your mouth, right, creating sounds that are a bit unusual, right, to the ones that you create all the time. And in English, we make those sounds all the time too. So that is a perfect, and that is a great combination. So you spoke about the challenge, but at the same time about a great tip to improve your pronunciation. That is great. And here I want to ask that question also to you, Roger. So Daniel has used beatboxing, right, to practice the pronunciation of these weird sounds in English. What have you used? What techniques have you used to practice your pronunciation too, which is actually a question that we got in the chat. Hey, Roger. Hey, Daniel, how did you practice your pronunciation?
In my case, I have been touched with English since I was a kid, because my older brother was a rocker, and you know that most of the music at that time was in English. So I think that listening to music is a way to improve your listening skills, but at the same time, you see how the Americans, in this case, pronounce words. Sometimes in music, singers can change the pronunciation of words, but that is like a mind work relationship, to say it so, to improve your English pronunciation. It's like you get used to when you are immersed, have a full immersion of English. You're gonna see when you pronounce or not a word in a good way. So for me, listening to music, singing songs in English also has been a great help, right? But basically, that's my hidden tip, to say it so. Yeah.
Wow, that is fascinating. And here we see music one more time from two different approaches, right? Like the beatboxing part to master that pronunciation, and also listening to music can help you with vocabulary, right? And expand also somehow your grammar. So fascinating tips coming from real students. And here we have another question from the chat, Roger and Daniel. And somebody asks, hey, when did you start learning English? When? And I'm going to ask also another element, when and why? When did you start learning English, and why did you start learning English? Let's start with you, Daniel.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I started learning English a long way ago, but it was like by lapses, you know, like I started, then I give up, then I restarted, and then I give up. So I think I cannot say at the exact time, but I can assure that maybe 2 years ago, 1 year and a half ago, I started to learn. And something that was very important to me was to stop thinking what I domain, that I don't need to learn something that I already know. Okay, I practically eat every course of the Platzi English Academy, because even if it's basic, sometimes you got a new perspective of the things you already know. Sometimes you find out that maybe you misunderstood an explication, and all that time you were using the structure of the word badly or wrongly. So the reason why I wanted to restart from the beginning is because I really wanted to domain the language, because for me it's very important. I have many goals in the future, and English is a very, very important structure of the accomplishment of those goals. So it's something personal, but it's like I have to.
Nice, nice, Daniel. So what I hear here is also it's always good to go back and review and practice again. Sometimes, and I need to confess that sometimes when we're learning something, right, and we go past the basics and then we start again, like in your case, we believe, no, I don't need to check that anymore. No, that's too basic for me. But just like you mentioned, in those little things, you can find a lot of valuable knowledge. So the moral here, it's first, it's always good to go back and reinforce and practice more. The more you practice, the better. But also, it's never late to start again. If you have stopped practicing your English for a while, the best day to start practicing and learning again is today. So just like you did, Daniel, like pieces of time here and there and stopping and restarting, you made a conscious decision over a year ago to start again. And that's the most important thing. If you have stopped at some point, you can always go back on track and practice again. So great. That's a fascinating explanation on how you started and when you started. Daniel, what about you, Roger? How did all that process start?
In my case, I have many years because I went to a private school that it was not bilingual, but I had good English teachers. But I think that most of my English knowledge, I gained it to self-taught, basically, because as I said before, I'm used to watch movie in English, listening to music in English. And in that way, if you study English and do those things or hobbies or whatever you like in English, I think it's going to be the perfect mix to improve your English really fast. But I have the opportunity also to go to a English institution in Maracaibo called Sebas that helped me also construct my English levels or knowledge. And from 3 years from here, I started English school on Platzi, right? So that has taught me things that I didn't know that exists in English. So it has been a new source of knowledge. And I have had the opportunity to meet people from all around the world and share experiences and share talks in English.
Wow, that's great because I can see there a bit of a combination of multiple things, Roger, because you mentioned, okay, I've been exposed to English for quite some time, but I've also, taught English myself. And here is when, building good study habits and building a study routine is important to learn anything, not only English. You've been your teacher yourself. By doing things you want in English, which is also very important because you develop more passion towards those things. So, wow, I am beyond excited with those realistic and very, real and actual pieces of advice from you too. That is great. We have a couple of very interesting questions in the chat as well. I've gone through some of them and I want to try to, bring them down a little bit. There's one from Lore Mejia, and it is fascinating. She asks, how is it possible to think in English when you are just seeing and interacting in Spanish all the time? How do you fight kind of thing, that situation? I want to speak English. I want to think in English. I want to practice English. But of course, most of the things around me are in Spanish. What have you done to go over those situations? And let's start this time with you, with Roger.
Yeah, as I said before, I have full immersion of English. I have my computer, my laptop in English. My cell phone is in English. I don't watch movies in Spanish. The least I can do is that I use subtitles in English with the dialogues in English to see if I understood all the things they're saying in the dialogues. So that's a trick for me. And to think in English, wow, I think that practice is the only thing that can help you think in English without thinking so much in Spanish. And also practice every day if you can, and if you have the time and the motivation to do that.
Wow. Immersion. Find that immersion by yourself, right? If there is an immersion around you, you can create your own immersion by, doing the things you're passionate about in English. As much English as you can around you, and that starts from you. That's a great tip, Roger. What about you, Daniel?
Well, I agree completely with Roger, because when you start learning English, it's very normal that you just translate what you think. But translating Spanish to English is not speaking English. So it's very difficult, but it's a process that is naturally going to take all your life. I mean, you weren't born in an English-speaking country. So you will never for real understand the right way to think in English. But you, step by step, day by day, by consuming music, by consuming content, by consuming series, you will understand what is thinking in English, because they express they use other expressions, they use other structures, but the only way that you can understand that is being part of the culture, not just seeing it. It's not about I'm going to see a show. It's not about I'm going to listen to music. It's about try to understand, focus on where you're listening, focus on where you're reading, because only by focusing, you're going to really understand what is about thinking in another language.
Wow. Focus, having a very clear objective, right? And making sure that whatever you are doing, you are 100% on that. Remember always to focus, to have a very clear goal. And just like Daniel said, translating is a natural part of the process, but you can, take a small shortcut eventually if you make sure that whatever you're doing in the immersion side of the learning process, like Roger mentioned, you accompany that process with full concentration. It's not just listening to a song just for listening. All right, let's listen to the song and let's pay attention to what they're saying, and let's get, let's dig deeper into that. So essentially, focus. That is a key word that we get from there. Daniel, fantastic. We have a lot of fantastic comments for both of you in the chat. I want to read one. It comes from Gabriela Pachano. She says, Daniel, Roger, you have very good pronunciation. Congratulations on being here tonight. That is fascinating. And you can go later into the chat and see all the love students are sending to you. You are real examples of dedication and hard work, Roger and Daniel. And you you should feel yourselves very proud for being here, speaking in front of thousands of people and in English. There's a lot of questions, like I said, and that is fascinating. I'm going to focus on two more, okay? Two more, and then we will move forward, but go ahead and keep asking your questions in the chat. Mary's Journey, she asks, how do both of you use Platzi platform and all its resources? What do you guys do in Platzi to get the most out of your English program? And eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's start with you, Roger.
Yes, in my case, I try to check all the courses in English from Platzi from the beginner. I know that I can have like a C1 level because I tested in a EF placement test, but I always learn new things. So for me, it's also really important to learn new things in English. And I also participate on this or attend to activities like Zoom meetings, Discord, and many activities where you can have the best experience. It doesn't matter if you don't have the best English. It doesn't matter because we're learning here. Many people is afraid because of that, because maybe they don't have good English as me, but I think that's an advantage for people that is learning English, because in my case, I try to help people with pronunciation or encouraging them to speak in public, because for me, that has the tip that has worked the most for me. So yeah, participating, don't be shy. I know it's hard. It's not easy to speak with people that you don't know, but try to do your best and you're gonna see that it's easier than you think.
Wow, it's easier than you think. I'm getting kind of like special quotes from both of you. It's easier than you think. And in the chat, now that you mentioned our practice activities, Roger, I shared the link of our weekly activities one more time, so you can join us and participate in the different meetups, in the voice chats, in the English training sessions, in the live classes that you have. Because who knows, the next student here sharing their thoughts and their learning with us might be you. Okay, so stay tuned to all the activities we have on a weekly basis. I shared the calendar one more time. And remember, this week we're having all those activities just as usual. What about you, Daniel? What has been the situation in your case? How have you gotten the most out of the platform and the English program?
Well, right. Actually, I am in the other hand because I have a job, so I don't have the time I would like to give to Platzi. So I cannot take advantage of all the resources that you have for the students. But I think that that's a very good thing that Platzi has, that you don't need to check all the information that they have. They give you the opportunity to, if you're a disciplined person, to set the way you want to learn. Okay, it's not that they force you. If you don't do that, you won't learn the correct way. No, it's like we have this, and this, and use it as you like, because you have to be comfortable when you're learning. So as I told you, I have a job right now, so the little time I have, I dedicated to Platzi, but mainly as I already said, I practically eat every English course that Platzi has. I see the videos, rewatch the videos, see the comments. When I have a question, I try to find the answer in the community. But if I don't find what I need and I don't have the time to still looking on Platzi, I tend to use for example, I have some friends that can help me, some personal friends, or maybe in the internet. I mean, it's about Platzi give you the tools and you decide the most likely way you want to use them.
Wow, I'm going to use that quote like for an ad or something. Daniel, Platzi gives you the tools. You decide how you use them, right? Those are very wise words that are very useful nowadays, in which we are working and studying and there's multiple things happening at the same time. It's all about how you decide to organize your time to get the most out of everything in life. Actually, Daniel, Roger, I want to start wrapping up this section with a comment from a fellow partner of yours from Venezuela. And Josh Ting says, I'm glad they're Venezuelans. Me too. And that means that I can also achieve my goals of learning English. So you are becoming an example for many students who have been in similar situations with similar challenges as yours. So kudos for that. Also kudos for Josh for sharing his thoughts. And I want to conclude this round of questions with one that has to do with having fun and, you know, enjoying your process. And it comes from Oscar HNO. And he says, like, all right, what songs do you recommend to practice English and have some fun? Let's conclude this round of questions with that one. And let's go first with you, Daniel. What song do you recommend to practice English?
Oh, that's a really hard question.
I know.
Well, I wouldn't say a song. I would say, well, it's not the best one, maybe in a medium level, but I would say an artist, Ed Sheeran, I don't know the pronunciation. He's a rapper, a pop ballad rapper from England. And sometimes his lyrics can be a little bit confusing, but I think he has a really good resources when he sings. For example, he has a song that is Drunk, and the chorus is, I guess I'm drunk again. And he combined the K with again, and it's not again, it's again, drunk again. And I think that's something very interesting, how you can have an idea of how the different artists, as Roger said, do whatever they want with the lyrics. I mean, the pronunciation is this. I don't believe in pronunciation. I'm going to do whatever I want. So that can make you understand how different can be the pronunciation around the world. So that's why I recommend that artist. I'm really fan of that artist. And I think if you focus on the lyrics, you can find very cool things that will help you to improve your English.
I'm a big fan of Ed Sheeran as well. I love his music, and he's a guitar player as well. Well, he plays actually many instruments. And I see what you mean. His lyrics are good to understand. The rhythm is quite catchy too. So definitely a very good recommendation, Daniel. I'm actually leaving this question in the chat for everyone to go ahead and share some music, some recommendations to practice English with music, which is a nice and fun way to get more vocabulary and practice your listening skills. And to conclude this section, let's go with you, Roger. What song or artist as well do you recommend to practice English?
I'm thinking that I'm in another whole spectrum of music, in another edge, because I listen from hardcore punk to gothic music. For me, hardcore is lyrics are more simple, but they speak or they sing faster. So the meanings are not so hard to understand. But in the other case of gothic music is more poetic. And sometimes poetry in English doesn't make any sense. So it's a good way to see how English can be transformed depending on the rhythm of music that you listen. So for me, that also has taught me that English is not static, it's always in evolution. So you need to be like focused that English is not an easy language in case that you're learning it. So you need to be open to new things in English and do your best. That's the best recommendation related to music that I can give.
Wow, English is not a static language. English is changing, and you need to evolve according to, you know, what's happening around you. And you recommended in this case some like gothic music, which is a little bit different, right, in terms of like rhythm, but lyrics are more simple in your opinion, which is great. And at the end of the day, whatever works for you, it's all right, as long as you are constantly learning and doing something towards developing your skills, whether that's gothic music, whether that's Ed Sheeran, whether that's, you know, Shakira, or you name it. Make sure you're having fun and always getting the most out of whatever you are doing. So Daniel and Roger, I definitely invite you after we finish this class to go all the way into the chat and read. There's hundreds of messages asking you questions about your process, about your experience, and also sending a lot of love for not only your English level, but also for being in front of thousands of people from all over the world sharing your experience. That's definitely not easy, and you've mastered it very well. So congratulations for that. And speaking of, you know, going that extra mile in our professional growth, Daniel has prepared something for us that has to do with his process with English and his leadership skills. He has also prepared a nice presentation on how English has helped him in that aspect. So make sure you also ask Daniel questions about this topic, which I'm sure you will find it very useful for your professional growth as well. So Daniel, it's the time of the truth. Let's see how English has benefited your leadership skills. Roger and I will be here very attentive to ask a couple of questions towards the end, but well, we are all ears to learn from this topic from you.
Okay, perfect. Just let me share my slides. So let me know once you are ready.
Okay, we can see your slides now. They are going to appear. There you go. We are ready, Daniel.
Perfect. Well, I would like to talk about leadership, okay, and how learning English can help you to improve that skill. Before starting, I want to make a quick disclaimer because, of course, it's about English, but Platzi has a really amazing school that is the soft skill school. So I really recommend you to complement anything you're learning, complement with that school because I think it is full of value for everyone. Okay, so let's start. And people usually think that leadership is about organizing a group of people to work towards a goal. And in fact, it's mainly about finding the best way to know every member of your team in depth so you can fully comprehend all their abilities, all their capacities, what they can and cannot do. And by doing this, you're going to be able to achieve very, very important goals in your life. So for me, leader has, there are three qualities that every leader has to have, okay? That is empathy, communication, and the ability to inspire. But how is this related to learning English? Well, and when you learn a new language, you have a very important tool that help you to understand that everybody has a different perspective. And you can use that perspective to find a solution of various problems. At the end of the day, the main point of a language is to describe the way we perceive the reality through our senses. So when you learn English, you're going to change the way you see the reality. And thanks to that, you will be able to, I'm sorry, you will be able to, I'm really sorry, I'm really nervous.
No, no problem. Some people say in the chat, Daniel, you're going to be able to grow, which I think could be a good complement to what you're saying. Empathy allows you to connect with people and that way you can grow, right?
Yes, of course. But learning English forces you to see your reality from a different perspective. And thanks to that, you will be likely find many new ways to have a new solution or for a one problem. For example, let's talk about, I don't know, attention. In Spanish, you borrow the attention. In German, you gift the attention. In French, you do the attention. But in English, you pay for it. Actually, right now, all of you are paying attention to me. So it's practically different ways to express the same idea. It's the same problem, but with different solutions. So learning a new language, it will change the way you express yourself. And by understanding that, you will easily acknowledge that other people will not necessarily share your ideas and your opinions. Okay? And that's okay. It is in those situations when you need to embrace other people's ideas to use them to find a solution for a common problem. Because empathy is the most righteous way to understand and help each other. Now, when you learn a new language like English, you are going to have a better understanding of your mother tongue because it forces you to I forgot the word, sorry, to identify all the elements that you normally use on your native language, okay? Such as nouns, such as an adjectives, prepositions, adverbs, and so on. And you are going to be able to use that knowledge to find a more effective way to communicate. A request can be interpreted the wrong way depending on how you express yourself. But knowing knowing a language on detail, either is your own or is a new one, will help you to have a better comprehension of all the words you have at disposal. And thanks to that, you will know how to use them to express your ideas in a better way. Now, maybe you're asking, what does it have to be with the ability to inspire? Well, the understanding of a second language will, with all the empathy you're going to gain on the path, will help you to understand why people get intimidated when they start learning English. Okay. Normally people think that learning English is something impossible, only the brilliant people can do. And that's the reason why they normally give up or even stop trying it at all. And I know this is a little bit ironic, but the only way to go out of that thought is going through it. And the truth is that learning English is not an impossible goal. Of course, it's difficult. It's not an easy task, but everybody can do it. And once you start walking that path, you have the opportunity to become a role model for all those who think that they cannot do it. You have the chance to, sorry, you have the chance to, encourage them to keep trying. And you also can give them a preview, we can say, of how this knowledge can affect them in their lives. Of course, learning English, only learning English is not going to automatically make you a leader. Of course not, but it will give you very important tools that you can use to improve the way you lead a team. Beyond any doubt, learning English will help you to get better job opportunities. But we ignore that even though it's very important to earn more money, the ability to set our minds to see the world from another perspective is even more valuable. Now, maybe you're not interested in leadership. Maybe you think that is a very hard and unworthy task, but maybe you're a leader, a natural leader, and you don't know it already. Okay, you don't need to be a genius. You don't need to have a lot of years of experience. You don't have to pay a motivation coach. No, the only thing that you really need is to really care about understanding others, and based on that, try to find the best way to help them to solve their problems. You'll get it wrong. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's normal. But those mistakes are going to teach you what not to do, and your own errors will show you the right path you have to follow. I would like to share with you some words that the economist Sheryl Sandberg once said that I think are really valuable. That is, the ability to learn is the most important quality a leader can have. And we know what Platte thinks about learning.
Wow, Daniel, I was taking notes of all the interesting and useful quotes that you shared with us today that I ran out of space where I was taking my notes. This was fascinating. Learning a language allows you to see the world differently. And when you see the world differently, you can connect with people, which this is a very meaningful message for all the people in leadership positions. Understanding the world from different perspectives is a way to connect with people, and English allows you to develop your brain in those ways. So this was a fascinating presentation, Daniel. There's lots of comments in the chat. David Gomez says, very nice presentation. Then it says, you got this. thrilling presentation, says Baby Boy Ace. Isaac says, great pieces of advice. This is very useful information for everyone. So there's lots of love, Daniel, in the chat regarding this topic. I personally myself learned a lot of things. I didn't know the pay attention thing in the different languages. And here I want to ask you, Roger, did you know, I took a screenshot of that, but did you know that in other languages is not pay attention or give the attention, but actually do, like in French, or well, borrow in Spanish, or give in Germany? Did you know that, Roger?
I didn't know that. But what I know that is that some languages have different approach. So if you're learning English and some other language, you have to pay attention to that, because because if you know more than a language, it's going to be easy for you to learn new ones. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be the same process, because sometimes the languages has difference inherent to the language itself and the history and things like that. But I think that, yeah, that was a interesting thing to learn about languages. And yeah, do your best learning. If you don't like to learn English, learn French. If you don't like French, learn German. I know that English is the most important language because it's a worldwide language and it's useful for companies and to communicate all around the world. But do your best. Don't be afraid. I have been there because I have started learning programming, and it has been tough, but that doesn't mean that I can apply some things that I use learning English to programming to learn many things as possible. So do your best.
Wow, you can always learn something, and it won't be easy. We have clear examples here on how English can help you be a better person, a better leader, a better professional, right? So always do your best, just like Roger said. And Daniel, there's a couple of comments regarding your presentation that I want to share here. And Ariana says, great presentation. I felt like in a TED talk. It was certainly at that kind of level, right? Terrific presentation. And I feel inspired by those tips. Those are some of the comments there. And that's the whole purpose of this, right? That we see English as something that we all can achieve. Yes, it's not going to be a piece of cake, right? But nothing in life that is worth getting it will be easy. You will always have to, struggle and fight to get it. But that's the most rewarding part of that. So Daniel, fantastic presentation. Fabulous job over there. Go ahead and read the comments in the chat. Roger, that conclusion about being always the best you can be and always giving yourself the best towards whatever you're learning is fascinating. And in order to conclude this fantastic live class that we have had tonight, I've prepared something, right? Because people may be thinking, oh, but only Roger and Daniel prepare things. John just came to drink water and say hi. No, I did something myself today as well. And, as usual in English Academy, we like having fun. And it's time now to play something with Roger, Daniel, and with everyone who are watching this live transmission right now. And we've spoken a lot about, having fun while learning English and different ways to improve our vocabulary, etc. So we are going to play right here, right now, a game called Taboo. Taboo is a vocabulary game in which we need to guess a word, but the other person cannot use certain words, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Daniel a word and a series of words that he cannot say. And he can talk, he can express short ideas or words to Roger. Roger needs to guess, but Daniel cannot use certain words, okay? And first, we are going to do an experiment. We're going to do a round with myself, okay? So I want to make you, both Roger and Daniel, guess the word that I have in my mind. I am not going to use certain words, and let's see if you can guess it, if that makes sense. And then we do after the test, it's going to be one turn for Roger, one turn for Daniel, and everyone, whoever guesses first in the chat, will get the points. Okay. Does that make sense, Roger, Daniel?
Yes.
Perfect. So I have the word over here and I can use synonyms, examples, but I cannot use the word and the words that are taboo or prohibited. That is the main goal. Okay. And let's get started now. Give myself, let's say 30 seconds. Okay. And I'm going to count myself the timer over here. Okay. And is starting now. Okay. Child, school, teach, learn,
Teacher?
no, close.
Primary school.
Come again?
Primary school.
There you go. Primary school. Okay.
But you said school.
Did I say school?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So then I did it wrong. You see, that's
Okay.
that's a minus point in that case, because that's a taboo word. Okay. It was primary school and I shouldn't have said school. You see, that was exactly what I wanted to show, what not to do, right? Now that we know the example of what to do and what not to do, let's get down to real business. Okay. So, and because you guessed it, Roger, I'm going to start with you. So here on Zoom, I'm going to send you the word that Daniel needs to guess and the words that you cannot say. Okay. This is going to be fascinating. I'm excited to show this. Okay. And I'm going to make some symbols to the words, to the particular word. Okay. And Roger, I just sent it to you via private message. Okay. It's a nice word. It's not that complicated.
Kind of. Well,
good.
Here you go, Daniel.
Perfect. So go for it. And now you have 30 seconds. Go for it.
You're sick. You need things to feel yourself better. What else?
Drugs, medicaments.
Close, but it's the thing that they send you to feel better. You're close.
Paracetamol.
Well, to give you a hint, it starts with P.
Pill.
No, and time's up. It wasn't paracetamol. What was the word, Roger?
It was prescription.
Oh, it was difficult.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, and some people were kind of close in the chat. Some people say medicine, drugs, yeah, painkillers, vitamins. Why not? All those are like close options. Roger, which were the words that you couldn't use?
Doctor, paper, medicine, and pharmacy.
Oh yeah.
There you go. It was very, very close. Now, are you ready, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Okay, perfect. I'm sending you your words via private message right now. Let me know when you get them. Okay. It's easy.
Okay, the first one is the one that Roger has to. Okay.
And the other one's the ones that you cannot say.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, and go now.
Okay, it has 4 wheels and it used to send kids to school.
Bus school.
Yeah,
bus.
But without the second one. Yeah.
Bus.
I'm the words at these games. I shouldn't have made the noise. Yeah, it was a bus. That was well played. It was kind of easy, and this was level 1, right? So right now, Roger, you've got a point. Daniel, you're down to 0 for the moment, right? But this is just getting started. Let's go with the next one. Roger, this one is for you as well. Same drill, okay? This is level 2, okay?
Okay.
You got it?
So Yeah.
Okay,
Kind of.
perfect. And go now.
Is what happens when you commit a crime.
You go to jail.
Before that,
Be more
Before-
specific.
it's the process before getting
Killed?
into the place. No, it's
Murder?
like when the people that has
10
to work with
seconds.
that, they use like a procedure when you commit a crime. It's like a procedure when you commit a crime.
A court.
It's
I
like
have
when
Three,
when they catch you.
2, 1,
No.
and time's up. uh,
It was arrest. Yeah.
Arrest.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And actually, Mary's journey got the word in the chat. Well, she said arrested, but arrest is fine. And somebody else got it right. And it was Ese Calderon. They got it right as well. And yeah, it wasn't that easy, but it wasn't impossible. Okay. Now, let's go with you, Daniel, once more. Okay. I'm sending you your word. Remember, the first one is the one Roger needs to guess. And the other ones, the ones you cannot use. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's
Okay,
doable.
perfect.
It's
Perfect.
doable. Okay. Go for it now.
Okay, you know, math class. There is a common number that you have to find. That's a three word process. The common multiple.
I know the word in Spanish, but I don't remember it in English.
It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. But
5 seconds.
One common multiple. No.
no, the first one
3, 2,
is the
1.
It's mini.
Time's up.
No, I didn't get it. Yeah.
What was the
Yes.
word?
It
Daniel?
was minimum.
Minimum. Minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was minimum. Yeah, that was a good example. With the minimum, I think it's minimum multiplying factor in English or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a bit more technical. And we got some people. SD Calderon says minimum. Oscar says minimum. Rodrigo, Raul. Yeah, many people actually guessed the word in the chat. So if you guessed the word in the chat, give yourself a point as well. Okay. All right, let's go with one more quick round. Okay. And the next, I love this one. Roger, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm sending it right now. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, perfect. And your 30 seconds go now.
Is something that we use to check the temperature. It's like it's the temperature, that is a channel that explains you or you can find the temperature. It's not temperature, it's the other
weather.
word.
The
Mhm.
weather.
Yes. Good. And it was good timing. It was only 20 seconds past when you got it right. So this is, if I'm good at math, which I doubt, I think we are at an even number right now. I think it's 1 point each. I lost track of the points. But
No,
I
we
think
are.
so. No?
Aren't we tie?
I think
we
we're
have
in
a
a
draw?
tie right now.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, we as in you on a tie. Okay, perfect. So let's break this tie with one final round. And to make this happen, I am going to act it out. Okay, I'm going to say the words. This is intermediate high. And whoever guesses the word first gets the point. And that's how we will break this tie. Okay. This is intermediate kind of high. So Daniel, Roger, are you ready? This is my turn. Okay, I'm gonna give again myself 30 seconds and starting now. Okay, at home, you rest after work.
Nap.
Bed.
Come again?
Nap.
No.
Sleep.
It's the cousin of a chair. Or
Bed.
like another cousin. You're close. Yeah, you lay on this.
Couch.
Yes, couch. That was the word. Yeah, they're cousins, right? Beds and chairs and yeah, couches.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're cousins. So yeah, that was the word. Couch. Okay. And actually many people guessed it in the chat as well. So we have Caviedes, is a couch. Majerli, most people guessed the word sofa, which is a synonym, and that's all right. Couch, sofa, both options were completely valid. So it seems somebody got 3 points, right? But when it comes to vocabulary, it's all right. It's sometimes it's more challenging than others. So great job, Roger. Great job, Daniel, participating with this vocabulary game. And also great job, everyone. I saw you guys very well at guessing in the chat. You guys are experts when playing taboo games. And I want to take advantage to to congratulate you once more, Daniel and Roger, for taking this opportunity as an important challenge in your professional growth and being in front of thousands of people using your English, sharing your tips was definitely very meaningful. Like I said at the beginning and multiple times, there's lots of fabulous comments in the chat. So once we're done with the transmission, go ahead and read some of those comments. I'm sure they will be very beneficial for your learning process. Thank you once more for accepting this invitation, and it's time to wrap it up. So thanks everyone for watching this live class with English Academy. Remember to continue practicing your English. I'm going to leave in the chat the link of our weekly activities. Just like Roger and Daniel said, you decide how you manage your time. Take advantage of the activities. And this week it's Hackathon at Platzi, but also means English for you. Everyone, till the next time, and don't forget to come to our practice activities every week. Roger, Daniel, once more, thank you so much. And I'm really excited to have you here, and hopefully we can have you back at any other moment to continue practicing your English. Thank you so much. And everyone, well, take care.